Hello, Seoul. Welcome. Thanks for welcoming us back. This, I think, is our 4th year that we've come to Seoul, investing in companies here and checking out what's going on. So, I want to introduce my colleague here, Angelo del Priore. Angelo, before we get started, tell us a little bit about your background. It seems that in order to advise startups, you need to have some experience and some operational guidance to be able to explain what to do as an investor and help them stay out of the pitfalls of running a business and scaling them. So what did you do before, and how does what you did before inform you on how you do your job now at HP Tech Ventures?
Thanks, Mitch. Welcome, everybody. Please ask questions if anything comes up, anything's unclear. I speak a little fast, but I'll try to slow down. So I've been in Silicon Valley for 23 years, first as a management consultant doing strategy and BD for large tech companies as well as startups. Got bored of it to a degree, joined a startup. We lost to Airbnb, tragically for me. Then I joined HP's corporate strategy group, did that for a couple of years. And then Meg split the company into 2, got to found HP Tech Ventures 9.5 years ago, and have been doing that ever since. So I've done a lot of M&A, a lot of strategy, product management. I've taught classes at Wharton and at Haas and other places around the world as a PhD dropout. It's something I've always loved to do, is to help teach people and to advise founders, which is why I love this job. Great, we have a new founder there, youngest I've ever seen. I love it.
So HP is trying to invest in the edge. What's your thesis for AI and edge? And where do you invest globally?
So I'll answer the first question, because the second question first, because it's easier. We'll invest almost handful of countries in the world that we won't invest in. You can probably guess. But, intelligence is scattered, equally around the world. That said, because I live in the San Francisco Bay Area, that's where our investments tend to be in North America. But we've invested in Israel, we've invested in Canada, we've invested in Europe. I'm actually, after this conference, heading over to Spain for our latest investment in a Spanish company. So I'm here, I hope, to invest and find a startup to invest in and come back, in 6 months to my first board meeting in a Korean startup. So that's the first question. In terms of the thesis, as a corporate VC, we have basically 2 bottom lines, right? Make money so we get bonuses and not get fired, very important. And then the second area is provide strategic value to the mothership. And the way we do that is by all the companies we look to invest in, they could also be acquisition targets. They could also be partners. They could be POCs. So we invest in a handful of companies a year, but we help so many more companies partner with HP. And the areas we invest in vary over time, along with our strategy. And I came from our corporate strategy group. So initially, I was really helped shape the strategy. Now, as BD people, basically, we can take the strategy that comes from our board, that comes from our CEO. So right now, we're focused on edge compute. So anything that makes a PC better, whether that's a CPU, a GPU, chip cooling. Another area we're looking at is DevOps. We sell these workstations that cost $2,000 to $20,000. Those people have this expensive hardware. They're very well paid. What software, what hardware can we provide them that also makes it better? A third area we're focused on is AR. We bought Humane, right, that entire team. That's like the next generation of compute, or personal compute is going to be something maybe that you're wearing with you or is around you. It's not going to be in a server room. It's not going to maybe even be on your workstation. It will also be your phone and maybe something that you're wearing. And then the fourth area is edge applications, whether they're agentic or not. And in areas that require edge compute because of privacy, because of security, because of latency, those are areas where HP is focused as an investment right now, because we have, we think, a comparative advantage to the cloud. If you're a soldier, if you're a police officer, if you're a retail worker, you need to kind of understand enemy, friend, crook, not a crook. Should I accept this credit charge? You actually can't wait sometimes. And there's always this interplay between cloud and edge. Like sometimes the cloud is better, sometimes the edge is better. We're focused on the edge. It's not going away anytime soon, and I would argue ever. And then an area, in Gen AI is the hardest area we've looked at as an investment perspective. The cost right, to do a query in ChatGPT or DeepSeek or any of the transformer models, it can be really high. And you're not told what it costs versus a simple Google or Bing or whatever search. So there's an old saying in sales, where there's mystery, there's margin, right? So if it's kind of hard to understand how much your workers are spending on XYZ transformer model, it's like, well, they probably can spend a lot. And I can't tell you how many quotes I've heard where something that's in pilot with Gen AI, which I think is a absolutely transformative technology. It is such a massive unlock in so many areas. But it's so easy to run up the token costs, right? Whether that's input or output, and the energy cost, right? Like the US, I was just reading an article in the Wall Street Journal, current forecast, 12% of our electricity, data centers. It's like, what, 12%? Like, that's a ridiculous amount. So if you can do the compute for the workstation you've already bought, yes, you're going to have electricity costs, but you're not going to have those API call costs, right? And running up stuff. I feel bad, right? I'm using generative AI for some stuff, get an answer, which sometimes it's better, sometimes it's worse. And I'm like, oh, wait, I just spent, whatever, a penny on electricity, which I'm not paying for, right? And I could have done it for, a hundredth of a penny on Google. It's like, that's fine. Times that by 1 billion people, right, at work that you're paying for. And it can get out of control pretty quickly. And a lot of things are not getting from pilot to production because, like, the cost, right, if you're relying on a cloud, it could just be runaway, and then the ROI isn't there. So there's opportunities for both players, cloud and compute and edge. But I feel like there is a huge space for us, retail, manufacturing, lots of spaces for us to play in.
So the chip, the stack, printers, anything goes.
Yeah, we acquired a lot of Humane's assets, right, to kind of make an AI agent operating system for all the edge devices we have. Not just PCs and workstations, but also printers, but also conferencing solutions, mice, keyboards, all of those things. If they could have a smart edge component to them, whether it's agentic or not, makes them so much more valuable.
I've seen recently, about 3 years ago, I did that landscape on all the AI chip companies.
Say again, sorry?
I did all those chip company landscapes. And recently, there's a company called Ambient Compute. And they're doing a very, very low power chip. It'll fit in the size of your locket and run on a coin cell. So you now can put local inferencing engines in almost anything at an incredibly low cost. So the edge is getting cheaper to do all the time. So you've invested in things like AFI, right?
Yeah.
You've been doing this for a while. Mobalytics, this year Edge Runner. Tell us a little bit about these companies, why they stood out in the edge compute areas for you and these investments.
Yeah. Mitch and I have known each other a while, but these are good conversations and new conversations because the facts are constantly changing. But again, I want to encourage people, if you have any questions, different point of view, it's fun to have an argument discussion around these things. Mobalytics was computer vision, AI-enabled game coaching from 6 years ago, right? AFI is spatial intelligence. You put a bunch of cameras. It competes with Amazon Go, so it's grab and go at a checkout store. What was the other one? Oh, Edge Runner is defense applications, air-gapped, where you basically personalize an LLM to your Bradley fighting tank or your F-14 jet, and it's personalized for your role and your military equipment and your training and whatnot. And then we just literally invested in a company a few weeks ago called Multiverse Computing, which compacts open source models, makes them 95% smaller, and therefore decreasing the parameters, and then makes them so much faster with little to no loss in accuracy. And again, it just kind of makes the edge device, it could be a dishwasher, it could be a satellite, it could be a PC, lots of a car, and it makes them more capable because now you can fit that huge 70 billion parameter model on something that has no business beforehand being able to run it because it would top out its memory or top out its processing capabilities. And again, it's just you're constantly upping the capabilities of devices. your refrigerators are smart, and we're going to hope to make them even smarter and more personalized and more meaningful for you.
So you've found a couple companies here for startups. What are the biggest opportunities and what are the challenges to be able to get deals at the edge?
Getting it to be an ROI decision and a no-brainer for the person you're selling it to. Each space that we've looked at, like gaming and AR, VR, you get a lot of people who are in love with the industry, and they're not necessarily business people. So it's just like, okay, like you've got to make this make sense, literally. In this space, we get a ton of technologists, which is great, because that's the fundamental problem. And I hope I can help a little bit solve the business problems, right? So I think it's doing the hard work, having that fundamental unlock in technology, and that can drive everything else. But again, this space is, and it's not just me and Mitch, because we have our many deficits and a few positives, but I've talked to so many VCs who've got so much experience and are successful investors. Like, this is the hardest space many of us have looked at before, and it's just, the pace of change is just, it's mind-boggling. And even for someone who's got a PhD from MIT and EECS and electrical engineering, he said to me, this is really hard to keep up because there's so much money and so many smart people, and we're just scratching the surface. Like, we're going to wake up one morning and someone's going to be like, I have this great post-transformer model, and it's going to just change our world. And it's going to be like, whoa, right? Like, who remembers GANs, right? And it's just like, convolutional neural networks. It's just going to be another step function that you're just going to wake up to one day. And then also, the valuations. I can't tell you how many times I've looked at companies pretty seriously. It's like, oh, I love the technology. I love the founders. What did Murati just raise at, right? And it's like, it's hard for me to take that leap of faith in her. Or, it's just like, wait, how much? Like, how do I exit out of this and make money that is commensurate with the risk? And it's just like mind-boggling.
So what can startups do to compete for your attention as an investor? What do you expect to see when you're having the meetings in the back room?
I think it varies tremendously by stage. So our typical first check is $1 to $5+ million. So we've invested in seed stage, which is 2 professors and a dog, right? Or 2 college kids. And then we've invested in Series C. At the 2 professors and a dog or the 2 college dropouts and a dog, it's just the passion. And I forget who I was telling this to yesterday over drinks. For me, I'm not sure, you might have a different perspective, the team and the technology are like the most important factors. Because to do a startup is financially irrational. Like, go work for Google, go work for Apple, go work for HP. You're safer. So in order to invest in you, I need to believe you're going to make this financially bad decision, right, for years on end. Because then you're going to, like, pull one out of the hat and be like, oh, thank you for sticking around for 6 years, killing yourself, having all this tension with your spouse, your best friend, your parents, because you killed yourself. And I feel like I've gotten saved over and over again by founders. And I'm like, would I have thrown in the towel? Like, they're better than me, right? They're like sticking to it with their 3,000 hours over 6, 7, 8 years. So for me, the team is just like paramount. And then also, it's conjoined, it's the technology that they've developed. Because that's the fundamental unlock. Because unless you've got something that is, demonstrably better, like, you can't go back and redo your PhD. You can't go back and you could, but you don't. I'm sorry, you spent 50,000 engineering hours doing some code. Look, we don't have time for you to refactor it. Like, too late, you went down the wrong path. So the technology is, for me, the fundamental. The business, I am an accidental business person, so I figure if I can learn business over the course of 25 years and had some successes, like, I can help you overcome the business challenges. They could still be really hard. It's not easy sometimes. It can be very stressful. But I feel like we can help you overcome that stuff. That's coachable in the moment versus going back and fixing the technology if you've made a flaw.
So are you going to have to hire your own AI agents and manage them and deal with an HR department like you would as regular personnel with the way that things are going right now?
Say again, I'm sorry.
I'm saying the way that these agents are working, we're getting to the point where it's like an HR department. Are you going to have to fill out forms just like you would with HR, and the IT department becomes HR, and you're going to have to manage them and report on them every year?
No, I think that's why we're going towards a lean startup, because I don't have to manage them, and that my startups don't have to manage them, and I'm constantly pushing our team internally, like, stop at Google, stop searching for that, agent, make it an agent, you know, use a chatbot to solve our problems. And we're pushing the startups too, to just be like, what's your job? What's your job? Like, how are you doing it? Stop. Like, how can you get more efficient? Like, I feel I should be getting, and I'm not, 5% more efficient every week, right? And it's my own lack of creativity. But sometimes I'll have a week where I'm like, whoa, I just did a task 50%, 100% more efficiently. And I just need to kind of, and I'm pushing my startups too, to constantly be like, why are your costs flat? You know, like, why are you not able to take out costs? I'm confused. Look at this startup. Look at that startup. So we're being like, I don't know, bad cop, good cop. But you know, you're at the board meeting. We're in between the board meeting, and it's like, why is this not changing? Like, that's like 8% of our budget. You're not a hardware company. Why are you not able to drive out costs? Have you tried this? Have you tried that? And it kind of is irrelevant. If you're doing gaming, if you're doing health tech, if you're doing ed tech, there are all these opportunities to take out cost and expand your revenue by utilizing agents.
Yeah, I think the pitch is that I'm not going to cut myself out of a job. I imagine I'm going to duplicate myself. I'm going to become more efficient. You know, if I can get extra hours in the day back, that's awesome. You know, to be able to duplicate 2, 3 times for myself. But I think if you don't start doing this and working with these agents, you know, you're going to cease to exist. Something will take over what you're doing. You have to become more efficient. And all this edge AI and agentic agents are making this possible. You know,
so on that point, just for a second, I'm in a WhatsApp group with a couple of VCs, and some of them are more emerging fund managers. And someone asked, well, how do you use AI? And it's a very chatty group. And someone asked, how are you using AI to do your job better? Silence. So no one wants to give away their secrets, right? And then the moderator of the group said, never mind. This is because everyone, VCs, are feeling that threat. It's just like, I didn't think about doing it that way. It's so much more efficient. Very rarely I'm able to surprise my boss with my efficiency. And every time I've done it in the last 6 months, it's because of ChatGPT or Perplexity, because I finally thought of something he hadn't. But it's like, oh no, we're pretty good friends, so we share ideas. But there's so many other ideas out there that I know I'm not unearthing. I have interns, which are great, because I'm like, great, you're a 22-year-old from Korea, you're an 18-year-old from Congo. Come up with ways to make my job better. And they're actually helping me generate ideas, right? Because having that creativity, particularly as you get older or different life experiences, is harder. And there's so many opportunities. Because all of a sudden now, I'm not an artist. My brother's an artist. But no, now I'm an artist too, right? Because I could draw a picture just as well as him. I just have to like think, how do I get there? Because the shackles have been lifted, right, from me.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You know, well, suppose you believe that, you know, you can automate a lot of legal work. I think most companies...
Don't tell my lawyer.
Yeah, well, I think most people would think they're going to go get some AIs and sell it to a legal firm and help them go faster. But the real crazy thing could be you start your own legal firm only with AI agents and you put the existing legal firms out of business. I mean, that's where we potentially are going. We're getting close to the end.
Sorry, I keep making the points. But Mobalytics, one of our portfolio companies, you know, they were going to try to use computer vision to do personalized coaching, like looking at the frame rates, figuring out I'm shooting high, he's shooting low, and giving us personalized information. So they ended up selling like 6, 7 months ago. And in the back of my head, I'm thrilled. Back of the head, I'm like, maybe we should have waited to got more. And then, you know, 2 weeks later, Microsoft says, hey, we're going to do the same thing, right? So it's just like, oh, who knows? I'm happy. The founders are happy. It was a good exit for all of us. But there's now this, like, you never know what's coming around the bend. Literally 2 weeks after we announced the closure of Mobalytics, Microsoft announced something that's like, oh, would that have eaten our lunch? Or maybe just a press release. Or it's like, no, fundamental unlock. We would have got, who knows?
Yeah.
So
we've got about 5 minutes left. Do we have any questions from the audience that you'd like to ask us about this topic? Anybody like to get up and grab a mic? Or we can just talk a little bit more. Stunned silence. No one's going for a microphone. Okay. What should AI reluctant users think about? You know,
Sorry?
What should AI reluctant users think about? There's a number of people out there that just really aren't trying to do things and get into the cycle.
No one has to know what you're doing with your AI, right? It's like absolutely like, don't worry about it. You're not paying here's $1 for the electricity. Like, just play. You're not going to break the internet. You're not going to break the AI. You absolutely just try stuff, and who cares if it comes out wrong? There's almost no cost. And I guarantee, I would bet you, as a betting man, if you try 10 random things, like, oh, I'm going to fail, you're not going to fail. It's going to give you like some joyful surprise, whether that's in your work life or your personal life, like how to plan your garden, where to go for a walk. Like, it just unlocks so much value. Like, just stop and be like, stop with the searching. Let me try an AI agent or LLM 4, 5, 6 times a day. It's like, whatever. Open up another tab. Click. Go do your other stuff, and then go check. You're going to have downside, but I guarantee you'll have more upside.
You know, if you go back to when the internet was just getting busy, the companies that really took off, the thing that had in common that did well was the people that leaned into it, that actually just started trying to use the internet. They didn't have a planning session. They didn't like have a tiger team. They just started using it. And the ones that just started using it as a normal, everyday habit are the big people and the players of the internet today. So those transformations all occurred because from bottom up, employees and people just started trying this Google thing and seeing how search worked. So it's a big deal to get people to start trying it and not being afraid of just, I'm going to run into hallucinations and it's going to give me bad answers. There's plenty of good things that are coming out that work. I've been using something called Notebook ML now. So I load up documents that I'm in control of, and I can interrogate those documents with Notebook ML. Nobody else gets to see it. In fact, I tried to share some of my experiences with it, and it's kind of a walled garden. It won't let me share it, so the privacy is pretty good. And I think, Angelo, you know of some others.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if you don't have an enterprise license with Microsoft or OpenAI or somebody else, you can get your IT department, download an open source model, put it on a server, 0 cost, other than electricity you're already paying for, and just have people experiment. I even see it within HP and within the startups too. Some people are more inquisitive. They're just going to try the new tools. And then it's like humbling. It's like, what? How did you do that so fast? It's like, oh, okay. And then if we're able to, and it's not just 2% faster, right? Like it's been so, our boss is so good, right? So when I can surprise him, he hasn't figured out yet that it's ChatGPT, but I just tell him. It's just such an unlock in so many ways. And obviously it's error prone still,
sure,
despite RAG, et cetera. But such an opportunity for people. I can't recommend it enough.
Now, another funny place in the Edge AI place is not an HP place, but an Ignite XL place. So I'm looking at a lot of companies now that are doing facial scans that look at your skin and give you diagnoses, and then give you products that will actually fix some of the things you have. Here at the show, you'll see things that help you with your scalp, or help you with your pores, or help you decide what to do about the bags under your eyes. Companies like 2250 will actually make custom formulas based on what your face scan looks like. If you go down the block to Olive Young, you can go ahead and take a look at this Edge panel right there, and it'll tell you what to do about your face.
So Peter Thiel just did where was it? An interview in the Wall Street Journal, and I haven't read all of it, but it's just like, oh, this area of stagnation, and I haven't read all of it. He's a 10 times better investor than I'll ever be. But I'm like, what are you talking about? There is so much change right now, I think, with Gen AI. Again, hard place to invest in, but it's just transformational. Are we getting kicked off?
Yeah. So again, well, one more set of rounds. Anybody have any questions before we stop for the day? I think that's it.
네, 질문 없으실까요? 네, 알겠습니다. If there are no further questions, we will now conclude this session. Thank you. Thank you once again to our speaker.